Hi and welcome on to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal. First of all, before I get into the transfers, enjoyed that game last night. Michael Elise with a brilliant free kick at the end there, making that game 1-1. Manchester United and Casemiro getting a yellow. I thought he should have got a red card in that game, by the way. I thought that was a red, but Casemiro getting a yellow that keeps him out of the game against Arsenal on Sunday. You know what? I'll tell the truth here. I wanted him to play. Yeah, because you know United fans, I don't want him to have any excuses, right, for that game when it comes around. But listen, good result again for Arsenal. You know what I mean? It's not been a bad week for us at all. But who are we going to bring in to strengthen? Now, the breaking news that has come out today, broken by the transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, is that Leandro Trossard of Brighton is on the verge of a move to Arsenal. If I get his tweets, this is what Fabrizio Romano said. He broke it earlier on today. Exclusive, he said, Arsenal have opened talks to sign Leandro Trossard from Brighton. Negotiations are in an advanced stage with an official bid ready for a permanent move. Personal terms already agreed. Talks will continue to get the deal done soon. And then he also went on to say about the Trossard deal, he said, more on the Trossard deal scoop. Been told that talks are already very advanced as Arsenal are prepared to close the deal in the next hours. Not early stages, but progressing fast for a permanent move. Full agreement reached on personal terms, and it will be a long-term contract for Trossard. So Trossard, 28 years of age. Of course, he only just turned 28 on the 4th of December. Scored 7 goals this season. We all remember him scoring that hat-trick at Anfield, which really, really put him on the map. He hasn't been as good since the World Cup, though, and there's been problems with him, obviously, at Brighton. He was left out by the manager, De Zerbi, who said that, you know, he refused to train when he knew he was left out of a game in the FA Cup, and that caused a lot of friction between them. And it was kind of obvious that he was going to move this January. His agent put it out there and said he wants to leave Brighton. Now, there was a lot of talk saying that he was going to be on his way to Tottenham. There was even been a lot of talk linking him with a move to Chelsea. This is why, at the moment, I'm going to wait. Because it's not so much the Tottenham one. The Chelsea one, we know with them, they could come in at any minute and try and gazump the deal. But it is looking very positive that he will sign for Arsenal. Now, I want to get your guys' views on this. Is Trossard, for you, a good signing for Arsenal? As I said, 28 now. Plays predominantly on the left wing, but can also play as a second striker, which is useful. That means if, say, there's a game that Eddie was out, you could possibly play him as that second striker. He can also play as an attacking midfielder as well. So he's quite a versatile player. I personally think, and you know, we don't know what the fee is going to be yet, but we've been told it's going to be anything from 20 rising up to even 30 million, maybe somewhere in the middle, around about 25 million. His contract expires in the summer, but there is an option for Brighton to extend it by a year. So, you know, that does push the fee up a bit. But for that sort of money, for me personally, if you're asking my opinion, I think this is a perfect deal for Arsenal. You know, we're short up front. We tried to bring in Mudryk. That didn't work. Mudryk, we were going to go big on with big fees. We've been looking at other targets, Rafinha, but Rafinha doesn't want to leave Barcelona. That could be one that we could possibly go back in for in the summer. But right now, he doesn't want to leave Barcelona. There's the Moussa Diaby one that Arsenal have been looking at. But again, Moussa Diaby, to get him away from Bayer Leverkusen in January is very, very difficult. He doesn't really, well, maybe he wants to leave, but the club doesn't want to make him leave at this stage. And it'd be a very, very expensive deal. Remember, both those two signings as well, the clubs have came in and said, listen, if you do want him, 88 million, same as what you were going to shelve out for Mudryk. So the Trossard one for me makes sense. You know, number one, it's a reasonable fee. 20 million to 30 million is a reasonable fee in January. Number two, and I think this one is probably one of the most important things of this deal, especially when you consider the position we are in the league, is that he can hit the ground running. He knows the Premier League. As I said, he scored a hat-trick at Anfield. He's been playing in the Premier League for the past couple of seasons. So he's going to be up to speed with the Premier League. It's not, you consider a player like Mudryk or any of these players coming in, they got to get used to the league. I was watching even Wout Weghorst yesterday playing for Manchester United. Even though he's played in the Premier League a couple of seasons ago or last season, you could still see he weren't quite on the pace of the Premier League. And we need someone that's going to come in with the position that we're in and hit the ground running now. And there'll be a lot of games for Trossard to play because he can drop in off the bench in the Premier League. He can play in the Europa League. He can start games, even in the FA Cup. We saw in the FA Cup us having to start Martinelli, start him in the Europa League as well because we're so short. So I think the signing of Trossard will be very, very good. Of course, it's not been done yet, but this is looking good. And the other question is can Arsenal get this one done before the Manchester United game? Talks seem to be progressing really, really fast. But if they could get this done before the Manchester United game, that would be a bonus as well. To have him on the bench and available in that game at home to Manchester United. So let's see how that one works out. But is Leandro Trossard is looking like he could be Arsenal's first signing of the January transfer window. Let's wait and see. Because the Mudryk one, I remember getting the call about that. Yeah, Robbie, it's done. Well, and I'm glad I didn't go full on with that. I would have looked a right idiot. And that's what the transfer window can do to you sometimes. Another player that Arsenal have been linked to today is Jesper Lindstrom. The 22-year-old Denmark midfielder who plays for Eintracht Frankfurt has been linked, according to the Italian publication Calcio Mercato, who they claim Arsenal have made an inquiry about his availability this January. He's been having a good season. He scored 8 goals and he's had 2 assists. And he's been interested in quite a lot of clubs, including Liverpool. They're another club that's said to be interested in him. Although I don't know how many more forward players Liverpool are looking to get. But Arsenal said to be interested in Lindstrom. Again, a guy's been having a good season. Valued at around about 27 million. But if we're getting Trossard, will we move for him? Maybe not. There's also Nicolò Zaniolo of Roma. The 23-year-old midfielder has been interested in a lot of clubs this January transfer window. Now, he's one of these players that, was identified as a real special talent over there in Italian football. He's had a pretty depressing last couple of seasons with injuries, but he's been coming back. Now, he's got a contract that expires next summer. Him and his team have been trying to negotiate a new contract with Roma, but the contract has stalled. And all the talk is that he could be leaving Roma this January. A whole host of clubs interested in his signature. Spurs are interested in him, West Ham, Borussia Dortmund, and Arsenal said to be one of those clubs interested as well. It was interesting that his home fans have kind of turned on him. They booed him in his last game out because of all the uncertainty around the contract. So it does look like he could move. Would cost around about 30 million. As I said, one of those players that's considered as quite a special talent over there in Italian football. But let's wait and see if anything happens with that one. There's the Ivan Frensneda one, which I spoke about a few days ago, the 18-year-old right back who plays for Real Valladolid over there in Spain. Newcastle and Borussia Dortmund said to be interested in his signature as well. His representatives have been in London, and Arsenal said to be one of those clubs very, very interested in him. He's a right back. And we know in that right back area, Ben White, Tomiyasu, even Cedric, who we're about to sell. But 18 years old, maybe he's one for the future. Maybe he's one of those, maybe he might be another Arteta one where he sends him out on loan again if he does bring him in, a bit like Saliba to bring back later on. He's said to be really, really talented. Good at playing that sort of inverted fullback role as well, and really exciting the manager, Mikel Arteta. let's wait and see how that one works out. And this one, Warren Zaire-Emery of PSG. Now, this kid is been classified as what we call a wonder kid. And you got to say he is a wonder kid. You know what I mean? At the age of 16, he's already made his debut for PSG. He's come off the bench in Ligue 1, and he did pretty well as well. And he's been exciting a lot of clubs around Europe. Now, Arsenal said to be one of those clubs that are really, really interested in him, according to the publication called RMC. PSG, of course, want to keep him. He was their youngest ever player to start a game for PSG at the age of 16. But Arsenal said to be one of these clubs that are very, very interested. He plays in the midfield, like defensive midfield, box to box, and is a very, very talented youngster indeed. I think the problem Arsenal will have with this one is that according to the rules in European football, you can't sign, you wouldn't be able to sign this 16-year-old until he turned 18 onto a full deal. So I'm not sure how they get this one done, but it's certainly RMC claiming that Arsenal are very, very interested in signing him indeed. So maybe one for the future, but not right now. But the one we're talking about right now is Leandro Trossard. Once again, would like to hear from you guys. Would it be a good signing for Arsenal? Yes or no, if this one goes through? And if so, would you like to see him in time for the Manchester United game? We'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching the show. I'll be back here tomorrow. Don't forget to check out all of our excellent content. We got around that big game coming up at the weekend, Arsenal versus Manchester United. Huge, huge fixture for Arsenal. And I'll be back here tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV. Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.